This kind of argument is a failure of the imagination. I've described it as the argument from personal incredulity. A metaphor for extreme improbability is a combination lock. A very good, high-quality combination lock of the kind that they put on bank vaults. A bank robber could theoretically get lucky and hit upon the right combination and therefore get all the money in the bank. But in practice, combination locks, at least the ones at bank vaults, are designed with enough improbability to make this tantamount to impossible, as unlikely as Fred Hoyle's spontaneous coming into existence of a Boeing 747. But now imagine a badly designed combination lock. One that gives little hints, a bit like the childhood game of Hunt the Slipper, where you say, getting warmer, getting cooler, getting warmer. Suppose that each time you turn the dial and you get a little bit closer to the correct combination, suppose that the bank vault door creaks open just a chink, and a little bit of money spills out. The dribbling combination lock, which of course the bank robber would instantly home in on the jackpot if he had that sort of clue. The dribbling combination lock is a better analogy for Darwinian evolution than the real bank lock, which offers only two possibilities, the jackpot or nothing. And the trouble with creationist arguments is that they all think that evolution by natural selection is a jackpot or nothing argument. Nothing could be further from the truth. But God, the God theory, on the other hand, really is a jackpot or nothing argument, because God is postulated as being there from the beginning, before the process of evolution got going. I can imagine godlike beings, like the ones that Crick and Orwell postulated as seeding life from their planet to ours. I can imagine godlike beings, such that if we ever met them, I mean, if they came here, for example, in order to have got here, they would have to be godlike, because for sure we couldn't get there. I mean, they need to be technological wizards of a sort that we have no comprehension of. We would worship them as gods, but they would not be gods, because ultimately they would have evolved by a gradual process. But the God of the Old Testament, the God of the New Testament, the God of the Muslims, who's always been there, he is the ultimate 747. Well, why not teach the controversy? There are real controversies in science. They're interesting, and we should certainly teach them. It's a very important part of scientific education to understand that science is not a done deal, that scientists are constantly changing their minds as new evidence comes in. That's important. So let's by all means teach controversies that really are proper scientific controversies. But the controversy over so-called intelligent design versus evolution is just not a real controversy at all. I hope it's not pure wishful thinking to suggest that there is a new wave of reason sweeping across America, Britain, the whole of the Western world. One indication of this, perhaps, is a wave of best-selling books, which I'm happy to advertise. And perhaps even more significant is the backlash, and I invite you to count along. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. The flea illusion you will of course recognize from W.B. Yeats, "But was there ever dog that praised his fleas?" Hence the flea powder that just got rid of that. And a nice little afterthought. You may not have seen the British edition, but that's a copy of the cover design of the British edition of The God Delusion. I'm not trying in this lecture to teach facts, and I'm certainly not trying to indoctrinate. I'm trying to raise consciousness. And we've all met the phrase consciousness raising in the context of feminism. It's especially powerful. There's no law against using a phrase like the rights of man or one man, one vote. Yet because we've all had our consciousness raised by feminists, most of us feel kind of uneasy when we hear people use a phrase like one man, one vote. And even those who still use man in that sort of sentence do so with their consciousness raised. They know what they're doing. They're taking a stand for traditional language, perhaps, or trying deliberately to rile feminists. But everybody, on one side or the other, has had their feminist consciousness raised. And I want to raise our consciousness about some unconscious assumptions we all make about religion. Let me try a little experiment on you. At Christmas time one year, my newspaper in Britain, The Independent, was looking for a seasonal picture, and they found a heartwarmingly ecumenical one at a school nativity play. The three wise men were played by Shadbreet, a Sikh, Musharraf, a Muslim, and Adele, a Christian, all aged 4. Now my guess is that you probably think that picture's rather sweet. How nice that 4-year-olds who belong to different religions should come together in a nativity play. Now suppose the caption said this: Shadbreet, a socialist, Musharraf, a conservative, and Adele, a liberal, all aged 4. Shadbreet, an atheist, Musharraf, an agnostic, and Adele, a secular humanist, all aged 4. I'm trying to raise consciousness. I hope that that series of 3 slides has raised your consciousness. I hope that every time from now on you hear anybody talking about, say, a Catholic child, or a Protestant child, or a Muslim child, you will protest. You will say, you wouldn't talk about a postmodernist child, or a Keynesian child, or a Hayekian monetarist child. There is no such thing as a Catholic child. There's only a child of Catholic parents. There's no such thing as a Protestant child. Only a child of Protestant parents. There's no such thing as a Muslim child. Only a child of Muslim parents. I repeat these slogans over and over again, probably too often. Too often? It can't be too often when you're in the business of consciousness raising. Please join me in protesting every time you hear anyone ever referring to a Catholic child, a Christian child, a Muslim child, etc. I like to think that this particular piece of consciousness raising has had some effect. I'm now going to play you a short 3-minute extract from a British comedian called Marcus Brigstock, and it's quite funny. I hope you don't mind I hope you don't take offence too. At the end of this monologue, somebody has put sort of pictures onto it as well. I think it must originally have been on radio. At the end, I hope you'll get the same consciousness raising point that I've just made. So I'll start I hope the sound will come through.